Good morning, everyone. Someone once said that the two most important words that every parent needs to know is be kind and firm. As a parent, the first thing is to be kind and loving to your children. But at the same time that you're kind and loving, you have to be firm. You have to let them know that you're not their friend, you're their parent, and you're here to guide them. The beginning of this week's Torah portion, it says, Moses gathers the heads of the tribes. And the word for the heads of the tribes is Shiftechem. Shiftechem means a tribe, but it also means a staff. Till today, the leaders in an organization are called a staff. But a staff is a walking stick, but it also is a symbol of authority. Throughout the Torah, Moses uses his staff. But someone once said that the word staff has another meaning to it. There was a fellow who every single Saturday, when his boss would ask him if there's something that he can do for him on Saturday, he said, I have a staff meeting. And he said, a staff meeting? What kind of staff meeting do you have? He said, the word staff stands for special time afforded for family. So as a parent, we have to spend quality time with our children, show them love and attention and care. And this is what we find that Moshe Rabbeinu says to Joshua, I am going to die, and you will lead the Jewish people into the land of Israel. But when Moses tells Joshua that he's going to lead the Jewish people into the land of Israel, Moses uses two different expressions. First he says, Ata tavo et ha'amazeh, you will come with the Jewish people into the land of Israel. But then in a second passage he says, Ata tavi, you will bring the Jewish people into the land of Israel. And our rabbis explain that what Moses was saying to Joshua is that on the one hand, you will come to the land of Israel with the Jewish people. You have to be a part of the Jewish people. You have to be one of them. But at the same time that you're one of them, you also have to remember, Tatavi, you will bring them, you will lead them. You are their leader, you are above them. And you have to be the one to set the example and the rules and the direction of the vision of the Jewish people. And that's what it means to be a leader, to be a parent, to be with those you're leading, and at the same time be a leader to them. I'll never forget, as a child, I grew up in Borough Park in Brooklyn, very religious community. There was a fellow on my block who was a Hasidic Jew, which means that on Shabbat he wore a black coat and a fur hat, a shtreimel. And he had a large family, but sadly one of his children had fallen into difficult times and got involved with drugs and all sorts of problems. And this kid completely left the path of Judaism. And Friday night in our community, everyone parks their cars and gets dressed for Shabbat, and everyone's walking to the synagogue all dressed for Shabbat. And just at about the candlelighting time, when everyone was already walking to the synagogue, this boy, who is now like 19 years old, would come home for the Shabbat meal. He lived on his own, but he would come home for Shabbat dinner. And he would come down the block with his sports car with the windows open, blaring pop music. And the whole block would look at this kid coming into the neighborhood, the way he looked and the way he dressed. And, it was a little bit of embarrassment, you would think, for the family that this son was acting this way and showing up just about the time when they were lighting candles with blaring music into the neighborhood, not really dressed up. I'll never forget, there was a shortage of parking spaces because everyone parked their car for Shabbat because no one drives. And it was candlelighting time. All the community members were starting to walk to the synagogue, and I left my house to go to the synagogue, and I see this Hasidic Jew all dressed for Shabbat, with his beautiful white shirt and black coat and his fur shtreimel, and he's standing outside in front of his house in a parking space that he was saving for his son, who was going to come home for Shabbat. And then the son turns the corner and comes down the block in a sports car with the blaring music. and I see the father dressed in his Shabbos finery, smile at his son, point him to come and take the spot that he's been standing outside to save for him. And the son comes out with jeans and torn shirt and, earring and tattoos. And the father gives him a big hug and a big embrace as he leads him into the house, saying, Shabbat Shalom, come join us for the Shabbat meal. And to me, this image will always remain in my mind of what it means to be loving, to be kind, to be generous, to be with your children, to feel whatever they're experiencing with empathy and kindness, but at the same time, to remember that you must lead them and direct them to a better place. Have a wonderful day.